Happy Monday. Donnie Baker here with you. How are you? Good to see you. Welcome back. Hey, today we're going to talk about mastering. What we're going to do is we're going to talk about the minimal mastering. You don't have to have a bunch of plugins, you don't have to have a bunch of stuff on your master fade. You don't have to route everything to a sub master and we're going to keep it minimal. Okay, that's what we've been talking about the past few weeks is the minimal ways of doing things. We've talked about drum recording and guitar recording and mixing and mastering, and it's awesome. So most mastering chains are way too complicated, and I'm gonna say it again. I mean, part of the problem is that we got too much information. We're watching too many YouTube videos on how to do things because everybody's gonna do the thing the way they want to do the thing. And if you learned to do it on YouTube by stacking just a crap ton of plugins, that's how you do it. Okay, cool, it might come out great, but it's not necessary, it's not required, okay? Great mastering is subtle. It's not complicated at all. First, let's do this. Let's define what actually mastering is, okay? What is mastering? Here's a quick definition. Mastering is the final step after mixing, okay? It prepares your song for the release. It ensures that the track is gonna sound good everywhere. It adds final polish and consistency if we're doing like a multi-song album. You want everything to feel consistent. Okay, mixing balances the song. Mastering prepares it for the world. It kind of polishes it and gets it ready to go, okay? Why do we master? The reason that we're gonna master is that we want consistent volume levels across across the whole song, but also across the whole album. If we're doing one song, we want everything to be consistent throughout the entire song. Okay? Some parts might, like the chorus might get louder, or the guitar solo might be super loud. But what mastering is going to do is level all that out and keep everything consistent. Now, if we're doing a multi-song album, you want all the songs on the album to sound like they were recorded and mixed at the same time, at the same place, by the same person even. So mastering is going to balance everything out and make everything sound consistent, okay? You want translation across all your speakers. Whether you're listening on an iPhone or earbuds, or you're listening to a big PA system in a club, you want everything to sound good across multiple systems. In the car, at the beach, with you know what I mean, with the little radio. That's what I'm talking about. Subtle tonal balances. So you want everything to sound consistent tonally. EQ-wise, if you want to talk about it like that, okay? It's gonna put the finish polish on it, the final polish. Make everything sound crispy. What they say is that mastering is supposed to make things sound louder, bigger, fatter, wider, and clearer. Okay, you're not trying to distort everything, okay? Mastering makes sure that your mix holds up outside of the studio. That's kind of what it's for, okay? It's for the delivery format preparation. So if it's going to, if you're going to be printing your thing on, if you're going to be printing your song on vinyl, it needs a different final touch than if you're sending it to the streaming service, okay? We can get into the specifics of that on another episode, but right now we're talking about minimal mastering, just the basics of the basics, okay? What mastering is not. This is what mastering is not. Mastering's not for fixing bad mixes. No. It's not for heavy processing. It's not for remixing, and it's not just for making everything loud. No, if mastering is doing a lot, something went wrong in your mix. If you're having to do a lot with your mastering to make your song feel good, something is wrong with your mix, and I would personally go back to your mix. Okay? So mastering is the subtle final polish that helps your mix translate everywhere. Okay, you want to blanket your subtle polishing so that it sounds good in the car. You can reference it on your phone. You can reference it in the car, at your friend's house, in the living room. So it sounds really good everywhere, including the studio. Okay, so mastering is really, really simple. The process is generally, you want an equalizer, you want a compressor, probably a multi-band compressor. Again, we can get into the specifics of what mastering is and how to do mastering on another episode. Okay, so here's the problem with mastering. This is part of the problem. Okay. So long plug-in chains get you into trouble. Over limiting. Bro, if you're like squashing everything down with a compressor and then trying to bump it back up with a limiter, you're gonna notice it. You know who's gonna notice it is your final listener. Wherever they're listening to it, be it on a stream, on their phone, in the car, what have you, okay? Over EQing. Again, if you're having problems with your mix, I would go back to the mix, fix the problems there, and then come back to the master, okay? Chasing loudness. That's not what mastering is about. Mastering is not about just trying to be louder than the other guy, okay? Fixing mix problems in mastering. No, that's not what it's for. Yeah, okay. If it comes down to you feel like, oh, I need a little bit more hi-hat in the final. Okay, everything's being put together and is being put together consistently, and now my hi-hat's kind of getting lost. Okay, it was nice and bright and crispy in the mix, but now it's kind of getting lost because I had to tone everything down in that range. So one thing you could do is a multi-band compressor. Again, we're not going to get too deep into the specifics of mastering, but you could find the frequency of the hi-hat on a multi-band and kind of bump it just a little bit extra so that it sticks out just that extra little bit. Now, if it's not enough in the mastering chain, yes, go back to the mix, fix it there, and then come back to mastering, okay? Here's the minimal mastering philosophy. Subtle moves, minimal processing. Like I said, probably the most I'm gonna use is 4 plugins plus a meter, okay? You gotta trust your mix as well, okay? If you're not really happy with your mix, again, I would go back to my mix, okay? But trust your mix. Your mix, you're gonna get to the point where you're gonna understand how your mix feels in your room and how your mix is translating on your speakers in your studio, or even if you're mixing on headphones. You're gonna get to be able to trust your mix to the point where you know that it's gonna master well. You're gonna get to that point. I mean, yeah, okay, but this is your first one, you may not know yet. But the more you do, it's the repetitions that's gonna help you. It's the repetitions that's gonna build your confidence. Understanding that your mix is gonna translate well to your master, okay? You wanna use small adjustments. You don't wanna crank on the compressor and the limiter, no. You want small adjustments. You want a clean signal path is what you want also. Mastering is about refinement, not repair. If you need to repair some stuff, this is where we're gonna go back to the mix, okay? Now, here's what should be a minimal mastering chain, okay? An EQ, simple EQ, a compressor, and I would suggest a multi-band compressor at this point. Now, between me and you, in my world, this is the only place where I use a multi-band compressor, is in mastering. I don't use a multi-band compressor in a mix. And we've talked about this in other episodes because I'm a minimal mixer, I'm a minimal recordist, and a minimal mixer. So I try to get things correct at the source. That way I don't have to try to repair things in the mix. Definitely not going to repair things in the master. Okay, a limiter and metering. So we got an EQ, a multi-band compressor, a limiter, and a meter. That's it. I'm going to share with you some templates. Okay, they're actually in the book. We're going to talk about the minimal mastering book here in a minute, and there's plenty of mastering templates in there. Okay, if you dig deep on my channel, you can find free ones if you want free ones. Okay, this is why we use each. Okay, in EQ, yeah, you might want to get rid of a little bit of, you might have mixed a little bit too, you might have mixed with your sub on. I point down here because my sub is under my desk, but when I'm mixing, I try to reference with a sub and without a sub, just to make sure that it's going to hit properly in that low frequency. So I may not need to roll anything off on the master, okay? Compression, yeah, I want to keep my compression light, okay? Again, we're trying to make our song crispy. We're trying to make it clear. We want the vocals to come out clear. We want the hi-hat to be crispy, but not piercing. You know what I mean? So there are reasons that we use these things. And again, we can dive deep on a mastering session on another episode. Let me know in the comments if you guys want to see that, and we can make that happen. Okay, I could do it live and record it for you. Or if you're hanging out in my community, we do this live at least once a month. At least once a month, we're going live and we're doing stuff like this. It's usually more than that, but we'll talk about the community here in a little bit, okay? The minimal settings, yeah, I mean, you don't want big movements, all right? And you don't need more than one of each of these things: an EQ, a compressor, a limiter, and a meter. That's it, okay? You want to make all your moves in mastering intentional. You want to make sure that there's a reason that you're making that move. You're not just doing that move because Jimmy Joe over here on YouTube told you to, okay? Here's some common mastering mistakes. One, probably the biggest one, the easiest one to do is over compression. The other one is over limiting. You're going to compress too much and then you're going to limit too much. Too much EQ. I mean, if you're finding yourself having to use a lot of EQ to adjust frequencies in your mastering, again, I would go back to my mix. That means that something was weird in your mix and it's not working well in the mastering, okay? Chasing loudness. That's probably the biggest mistake that I've seen in a minute. I've seen mixers, and we've talked about this before on this channel. I've seen mixers they're mixing at 0 dB. They're mixing at the loudest point that you can go. So there's no room for mastering. And I've even asked, why are you mixing so loud? And the answer was, I don't want the mastering engineer to adjust my mix. That's the mastering engineer's job, for one. And if your mix is proper, if your mix is good, it's not going to change your mix. The mastering engineer is not there to change your mix. He's there to make your mix bigger, fatter, wider, clearer, and consistent for all platforms, okay? Using too many plugins, bro, that is probably another big one, because again, YouTube is telling you that you got to use 14 EQs. You got to use 3 different compressors. You got to use 2 limiters, one for this frequency and one for that. No, most mastering I'll say it this way. Most mastering will usually make things worse. If you're coming in with a bad mix, mastering is just going to make it worse. So again, I would go back to my mix. And I keep saying that we should go back to the mix, but your mix should be good. Your mix should be awesome before your song goes off to mastering, okay? And another tip, and we've talked about this on another episode, but another tip is, if you are the mix engineer, you should not master. Unless it's your own song or it's a demo for a client, yeah, sure, put a little mastering on it. But if you're doing this for a release, if you're the mix engineer, I wouldn't master. I don't master my own mixes if it's for a major release. Okay, but again, if it's just a demo or it's to send to your friends and family, fine, I'll master it for you. But if it's generally going, especially a label release, I'm not going to master it. I got a guy. I call my guy and send him my mastering, because he understands my mixes and I understand his mastering process. So my mixes kind of fit his mastering. I've been using the same guy for 18 years. So yeah, I'm just saying, that's just my philosophy. You don't have to take that one. You can. Subtle mastering sounds more professional. Okay, here's what happens when you simplify. You get cleaner mixes, better translation to more devices, all right, less distortion, more dynamics, and a faster workflow. This is what happens when you keep things simple. You keep it minimal. Okay, I'll show you some of my mastering templates. Okay, I've got one for Pro Tools. I'm gonna share with you one from, I think I have one for Luna, and here's one from Reaper, which I don't know if you guys have checked out Reaper in a minute. I'm new to Reaper, and Reaper is kind of killing it. I'm kind of enjoying Reaper. I'm kind of enjoying learning Reaper. I've not really been a big fan of Pro Tools for a long time. I've not really been a big fan of, let me rephrase that. I'm not a big fan of Avid. I like Pro Tools. I like how it works. I like how it looks. I like how it feels, because it reminds me of my console. But so does Reaper. Okay, and Reaper, I don't have to deal with the subscription. Okay, I'm not a fan of that. All right, but I'll show you some pictures here. I'll show you some of my screenshots. Got one from Pro Tools. This is the Pro Tools screenshot of my mastering chain. You see how simple it is. It's just super simple. And here's the one from Reaper. It's pretty much the same. I use the same plugins. And again, it's just 4. It's an EQ, a compressor, a limiter, and a meter. And that's pretty much it. So who's this method for? If we're gonna go minimal, Who's this method for? It's for home studio engineers. It's for mix engineers mastering their own work. Again, if you're mixing for a major release, send it out. Send it to find a really good mastering engineer that you trust. Send him that work, okay? You shouldn't master your own mixes because you've been listening to this mix for how long? Yeah, so because you're kind of stuck in that mix mode. So I've even seen people put the mastering just on a master fader in their mix and do it while they're mixing. And if something feels weird, they just jump back into the mix. That's dangerous. Okay, don't do that. Beginners also, this is who this method is for. It's for beginners. If you're not like really well versed in the mastering and the mastering process, this could be for you, man. Just keep it minimal. All right, minimal workflow users, man. If you're into doing things quickly and keeping it minimal, keeping it simple, this is for you. So who's this not for? It's for heavy mastering change. Somebody who really likes to dig in and get really scientific with it and really dive in and tear things apart with your mastering. Cool, this ain't for you because this is minimal. This is simple. All right, surgical. If you're getting super surgical with your workflow on your mastering, this probably isn't for you. I would stay doing whatever it is you're doing, okay? We have the full method is explained in the ebook. The new ebook is called The Minimal Mastering Method. I'll put a link to it down in the description here on YouTube. If you guys want to go check it out, please do. And it's really simple. It's really easy. And I think if you adapt this to your workflow, I think it's going to help out. And in the book, there are minimal mastering templates already built for multiple DAWs. There's one for Pro Tools, one for Reaper, Luna, Logic, and Studio One, which is now Fender Studio Pro, I guess. But I still have one for Fender Studio One, not Fender Studio Pro, but Studio One will open. You get it. It's okay. Okay, so here's the final thought process for this whole situation with mastering. Refine it. This is to refine your mix, not to fix your mix, okay? Again, when we're minimal mixing, we want to record it properly so we're not fixing things in the mix. It takes a lot of time, effort, and energy. If you record it properly, you don't have that problem. Same thing with your mix. If your mix sounds great coming into the mastering process, you don't have to fix anything. It already sounds great, okay? This is for simple mastering because simple mastering is going to win every time. We'll see you next time. Oh, if you want to look at I'll post right here the one for the minimal mixing, and you can put them back to back. You can go watch the mixing, then come back and watch this mastering again. So I'll put a link to it right here. We'll check it out. And look down in the description, and you can find the link to the book. Go check it out. We'll see you next time. Donnie B, I am out.